Little audio test here.
Just get out and come this way.
There, okay.
Would wait till it's actually 4 o'clock, even though everybody's super pumped. Oh, thank you. Yes, good. Good.
What's happening to Francis's dog?
Ico,
Yeah,
I'm sure that Ico's just being Ico.
yeah, he just sits over at the restaurant.
No, he does that anyways, you know,
Yeah.
I can't tell you that, like, he tried to coax Ico to come over, I was like, good luck, that's Ico. I think Francis is the only person that he'll
Yeah.
come here. At least he doesn't chase people anymore.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Got that rolling, we're rolling online. All right, we will start our regular town council meeting of August 4th, with the roll call, starting with Gary.
Gary Hawes.
Spencer Wade. Josh Ewing.
Jennifer Davila.
Britt Hornsby.
Erin Nelson serving as town manager.
Clay Collins, Administrative Director.
Good, thanks everybody for being here. As we normally do, we'll allow for some public comment, invite public comment, if anyone wants to make it. Anybody here want to make public comment? If online, if you're wanting to make a public comment, if you could, please, raise your hand or put your name in the chat. Let us know that you want to make a public comment. Give it a minute there. Not seeing anybody online. If anybody's late, we can always come back to it if we really have, if we need to. We'll move on to talking about our minutes from July 7th, the regular meeting, and the July 14th work session. I had two little items to raise. On the there we go. On the minutes of July 7th. I do not think that I said, or anybody said, that the areas require state approval prior to the town being able to include them in designated WUI zone. They do need to be approved in order to be in a WUI zone, but I don't think that I used the word prior. I don't know if anybody remembers me doing that or anybody else using that word.
Let's just remove prior
Yeah,
approval. These areas require state approval
to be.
in order for the town to include them in town designated buoy zone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Malia. Sorry for putting words in your mouth, Josh.
Obviously, we had discussion about the fact that like we needed to get approval. We were putting them in place and then we'd go through the process. So anyway. Anybody else see anything else on the minutes of the 7th? And then on the 14th, was just the spelling of Perry Nakamura's name, and that should be Nakainura instead of McNamara.
Please spell that again, please.
Nakainura.
And her name, is it Carrie or is it with
Kerri? But you could just, in the minutes, find to use just the last name and just, you know, McNamara or other financial consultant.
Yep.
Nakamura instead of McNamara. Anything else on the 14th? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving these two sets of minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, any unanimous passage of the two sets of minutes. We'll move on to unfinished business, the first of which is advice and consent to appoint Tom Hisserow to the Planning Commission. I am proposing as mayor to appoint Mr. Hisserow to the Planning Commission. And it's the job of the council to provide advice and consent on that, basically say yes or no, or I don't like that, what happened. We've had some discussions about this before, but it's our formal chance to take it up. Anyone on the council want to make any discussion about Tom or have any concerns about it?
Worked with Tom as a volunteer before. He's great. Thanks for making the time.
All right, hearing no other discussion, all in favor of consenting to appointing Tom Hisserod to the planning commission, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Unanimous to support the appointment of Mr. Hisserod to the planning commission. Malia, just ask if you start including him and let him know. I'll shoot him a text too, just so that he knows from the council. But glad that he's willing to serve. That's basically 6 months now till the end of the year. 5 months now. 5 months now. God, it's only 5 months till the end of the year. Okay. On the wilderness urban interface, I wanted to give you all an update. The person at the state who has to approve that little addition to the WUI map that's not in the level 5 high level was out for a while. He did get back to me. He said he was totally fine approving it, but I needed to fill out a form and send it to him. So I put that on my list to do this week, but he said there was no issues and he thought that it was a smart idea to just include everything in the commercial and residential zone. So anyhow, it'll be a matter of a few days or a week before that's officially approved by the state, so that we can be in compliance with the state law saying that those additions beyond the level 5 need to be approved. So basically just wanted to we should have that T crossed. I'm gonna ask Malia to maybe give us a little bit of an update on the review of proposals for the maintenance contract. As you'll recall, we discussed previously last month that we had received 2 bids and there was going to be some follow-up questions that we wanted Malia to make and then have the staff come back with a recommendation and potentially we would have a vote on awarding the contract after that. So Malia, if you can give us a little bit of update on your conversations and then we can ask questions and decide what we want to do next.
For sure. I'm sharing a screen or a document I created, answering all of the questions, kind of breaking it out. What you guys had asked me to look into. So one of the first questions was the willingness to share the position with another contractor. So reminder, we had 2 bids or 2 proposals turned in, one from Bial's Dynamic Handyman Services, another one from Helgerson Property Maintenance, and Joydino Bial of Bial's was willing to share the position. If so, we would like to see the workload evenly distributed between the 2, basically making sure that the hours per month were the same, if that was the case. And then with Helgerson Property Maintenance, they said no, the needs of this position are at least 40 hours per month, which is the number of hours that they have requested in the proposal. So they would not be willing. And just to point out, the proposal, they requested 40 hours, but the RFP actually only said 25 to 30 hours per month. So they did actually request in excess of the amount that we had offered. Another question that was requested was Helgerson Property Maintenance if they have an equipment charge. They said that for all the jobs listed on the proposal, there is no equipment charge and the per hour rate of $35 per hour stands. Any additional work not listed on the proposal may have an equipment charge. They don't currently have a list of what their equipment charges is. And so I asked if they do create a copy or if awarded, if they would create that copy so that we would have that for the future.
So my question on that is, I'm trying to go back, it's been a long time since I read the RFP and what work we said, but we did say things like road work and things that would require heavy equipment.
So the one that was discussed the most was the drag for grading the roads, and they would use a four-wheeler, and they would request that we purchase the grade, that piece of equipment that they would pull, that they would tow behind, but that would not increase, that would not change their rate. It would still just be 35 an hour.
So we didn't list anything in the RFP that would require a heavier piece of equipment.
Let me pull it up, just to make sure that.
Grounds maintenance, facilities and inspections, cemetery maintenance, roads department assistance, including sign and post installation and maintenance, culvert cleaning, minor road grading, right-of-way mowing, minor gravel removal from paved surfaces, pothole repair, storm debris cleanup.
I mean, some of that could, or most of that could be done by hand, but you could use machinery for a lot of that stuff.
One that I questioned most of it was the power for the.
So. Anyway, the answer is they don't approve those things we listed.
Right, for those
If
things.
we asked
listed.
them to do that, they wouldn't charge us additional cost.
Correct.
Okay.
And so that's where I thought that an equipment list would be helpful. If there were other jobs that we were asking them to do, we'd have an upfront idea before saying, hey, it's time for you guys, will you guys come in and actually do this portion? Having a little bit more of an idea.
Well, so then on their RFP response, they listed a whole bunch of heavy equipment that they have.
Sure.
So if they're using that equipment for the thing in the RFP, this still would not be a charge because that's what they said. But
I thought there was something in there about 35 hours a month.
On the RFP,
RFP.
who has it up?
Internet.
What's it say?
Oh, for the
Yeah, how many hours did we say per
Estimated.
month?
approximately 20 to 30 hours per month. The town anticipates this contractor providing this. Actual hours are estimates only and are not guaranteed.
Another, oh, sorry. go ahead.
okay, so they said, in their thing, they requested 40, which is above what we asked for.
Mhm.
When you talked to them, did they said they wouldn't accept anything below 40, or did they?
And I quote, the needs of this position are at least 40 hours per month, which is why they requested those number in the proposal. I'm not totally sure. I mean, for the proposal, we said we can't guarantee anything. I was speaking with Tanya and she was then speaking to Steve and then relaying it back, so.
Good.
I'm happy to continue digging and to continue asking more questions, but. Seemed pretty final.
I mean, there's definitely gonna be months where we would have very little maintenance needs and months where we have quite a bit more. So, I mean, I don't think we could say that we could guarantee 35 or 40 every month. Yeah.
Did we get any more information on Joy Dino's work experience?
Yes. So there are also reference statements. So I called the academic mentor where he had listed academic mentor with USU. I called and they said he is punctual, has great leadership qualities, innovative, and collaborates well with others in both English and Navajo languages. Part of his duties, so he truly was an academic mentor and he was collecting data and supporting the grant reports, but also while he was in that position, he helped them to upgrade the USU Center in Montezuma Creek, which is the maintenance portion of his reference. He saw something that would need to be fixed. He would let them know and he would follow the protocols laid out by putting in the request, waiting for funding, waiting for approval, and then proceeding. And so they said, highly recommend. He did great work in both facets of his position with them. And then for reference statements for Helgerson property maintenance, does great work and does what they say they will do, qualified to complete the work that they take on. They're a 2-for-1 deal with Charles and Steve completing work together. They do have a lot going on, and with certain days that they are on trash pickup, there may be some struggles with timeline. And then regarding that, down to number 5, other, when asked about general project timelines, there was no commitment that could be made. And then I specifically said there has been discussion about struggles with a timeline. Is that something that you could commit to? And they said, we have a busy schedule, it would just have to be worked in. So one of the references actually suggested a contract contingent on timeliness for a set amount of time as a trial period, 3 months, 6 months of if it seems that timeliness is still an issue, then this.
And this was a reference provided by,
Provided by Helgerson, yeah. And then the final question was clarification on page 8, question 6, which was experience and certifications of key individuals of your business who will be involved with our account. Joy Dino said there will be no one else working on the account. And then for Helgerson Property Maintenance, it's Steve Helgerson and Charles Brandon Helgerson are their 2 employees that will be working.
any other clarifications or questions from folks? And my question was, just if the staff has a recommendation after, reading everything and looking all this through.
This is a really hard one.
Well, having been in the role for a couple of years now, I really appreciate the contractors took time to share what they're looking for. I will be really honest. There have been significant delays in work that we've asked Steve Helgerson to do. I really respect that he has. I mean, he had got major hustle. There's a lot going on in his business, and I really appreciate him, continuing to want to expand his business. Based on the responses received, I don't feel as confident, even before that, with his ability to meet the needs of the town. While I agree that, there are a lot of things to get done, to then couple that with, well, we can't necessarily commit to when something will be done, but we still want 40 hours a month. I think that puts us as the town in a difficult position financially, and also just the needs of the departments. We have more and more things that are needing to be done. Michael has a pretty robust schedule as to what he's trying to do with maintenance improvements on town roads. Not only do we have the Bluff Community Center, but we have a lot more coming down the line with the brick. And so, I think it's really important that we're able to depend on the contractors that we partner with. That's not to say that, again, I really respect what Helgerson Property Maintenance is doing, and I'm glad that they put in. I do want to call out to you all here, with whatever decision you go, I do not want to burn any bridges, given that clearly Steve is a very valuable member of town. His equipment is fantastic. And I would hope that whatever direction you lean, that we would still be able to reach out to him, because there is going to be heavy machinery needed from time to time. However, I understand in speaking with him personally that, there are, if a contract is not awarded, I mean, this was even before the RFP a couple of years ago, that, if the contract is not awarded, we're on his schedule. And we would also pay increased hourly rate or equipment cost if we are not in a contract with him. So I want, clearly we would want to weigh that, and I want to respect him as a business owner and being able to set that, we are kind of at that whim. If you were looking for the heavy machinery portion of things. From a roads perspective, Michael does have other contractors that we're able to reach out to at the county to help with like the bigger stuff. But it still would be my hope that maybe Steve could help us on a couple projects. But based on, the great follow-up Malia did, unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to meet the needs of the bid that we set forth. Whereas the other individual can meet most of what we're looking for in a timely manner based on past performance with with staff.
We've worked with both of these.
We have.
Contractors before, so
We
we have some reference points. And like you're saying, there's nothing saying that if there's something that one of these couldn't do, that we could actually get bids and do that on a case by case. They just wouldn't be a contractor.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't be the person on call, basically.
And I would absolutely respect that business owner or individual, to charge us the going rate.
Sure.
There's not gonna be some kind of discount or anything like that, but
Yeah, if you're on contract, you offer something different. 'cause you know you're
Absolutely.
getting some, yeah. What are folks' thoughts or questions?
I mean, those are my concerns. You put it very well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that, I agree with that as well. No, I think we could continue to use Steve as our independent contractor when we need the bigger stuff done. If he has time and space available,
Ability to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and also, I mean, I just don't know, we'd always be able to get the hours that they would want for the contract as well, like, we could definitely fill that a lot of times, but there would be slow times where we wouldn't be able to fill that very easily.
And I think that does call, you know, unfortunately, us as an entity versus a private business as an entity. You all are responsible for taxpayer dollars, and to move into a contract when, you know, you know, I do think that this position could continue to expand, especially when we have the other building online. But you do need to be respectful of the taxpayer dollars and the money we have set aside in the budget. And so I think that's a pretty big consideration.
That'd be mine too, was the hours. I was thinking it was like 35, but yeah, 20 to 30 and they want 40.
Yeah. So I think I'm getting the gist of the council to award the contract to Giordino. That's the sense. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of awarding the contract to, what's the official name?
BL's Dynamic Handyman.
EL's Dynamic Handyman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain on this one, just, I have a, you know, pretty close relationship with Steve and through the fire department, I don't know Joey Dino at all. I feel a little conflicted on this one. So I'm gonna abstain on this one, so we'll say it's, 4 yeas and 1 abstention. To award the contract to Giordino, okay. Thanks, everybody. Not always super clear cut on these, so I appreciate everybody's discussion. Now moving to new business. I had a good conversation update with Luann the other day. Thanks for the coffee, by the way. So I just asked her to come briefly and give us a little bit of an update. I think you all will remember that the potential trail between Montezuma Creek and Monument Valley, the design contract for that was funded and now it's been awarded, so it's actually moving forward. And Luann's been putting in some time to stay up to date on everything happening, so we just thought it'd be good for everybody to get a little update on that. Obviously, there'll be more to come, but maybe I'll toss it to you, Luann, to give us a little bit of an update on that, as well as just the active transportation committee overall.
Yeah, so the contract that went out is for that 61 miles, and they call it Bluff to Montezuma Creek and Bluff to Monument Valley is for design to get it shovel ready to construct the trail. And then from Bluff to Moab or Spanish Valley, just, you know, the county line there, to do planning. So that stretch, they'll meet with the towns and get an idea where to put it and that kind of thing, but it won't be design ready, won't be construction ready. But yeah, so it went through, you know, we had it awarded, it was a federal US DOT grant that it's called RAISE, it's a rural grant. And UDOT applied for it, and we helped with letters of support and that kind of thing. And then it kind of got side tabled with all the other grants and the administration change. And then it was reinstated. And so then it went out to bid, and there were 3 that came down and talked to us, 3 different engineering firms. And the one that won the bid is called Kimley Horn. And they're up in, they're everywhere, actually. The main contractor, the main engineer is from Tucson, actually. And then they partnered with Bike Utah, which is based obviously in Utah. So they're on that team, and the teams all had like lawyers, engineers, all that to get all the easements and everything. So they have big teams together and they have to get it done within a year. So they'll probably start here, but I don't know. Haven't heard any details, but they were ready to start right away. So if you hear from them, that's what's happening. Um, it's exciting because it actually is moving through and it's been, kind of in there. Then we have an active transportation committee, but Anthony was on it and he's moved out and Molly was on it and she's moved. Britt was kind of assigned to it as a council member. And I don't know if you want a council member on again. But we do have a couple openings. It's really nice to have 5. Brian, was, Whitney, right? Okay. So that didn't sound right for a second, but Brian has expressed interest for the last year or so, of joining in. We worked for quite a few years to get it to this point, and then we sort of just, not had anything to do right now. We got the plan in place, got, this grant going and stuff. Now there still isn't much work to do. It's mostly gonna be to communicate with the engineers, help to coordinate with the people that are along the route, that kind of thing. So, what I thought we'd do is get a meeting going and then produce a couple people to get your approval and do it that way. So if anybody listening or if any of you know anybody who would be good on that, what we want is some, people that are interested and have some good ideas, support of it, basically. And then let's see, yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to say was, that on the subject of trails is the Bluff River Trail was just designated as a national recreation trail. And you maybe seen that out in some of the correspondence and stuff. But there were only 5 designated across the country. And there are like 3 others in Utah that are national recreation trails. So it's a cool thing. You'll see some little signs going up on the posts along the way. That was all through Bluff City Historic Preservation Association as far as the oversight of it. And they're not on, that wasn't part of this active transportation committee. So the active transportation committee is doing the highway trail. And so it will be able to tie in, like parking and whatnot, that kind of thing will be consideration of, but anyway, that's kind of the trail update.
And we had a discussion about, they have a little committee for the Bluff Trail, and we had a little discussion about Spencer, I think, serving as a town liaison on that.
With all of it, possibly.
Yeah. But with the Bluff River Trail in particular.
And the Bluff River Trail, just kind of an easy way to think of it is, Sand Island is really the reason why it got designated a national recreation trails, because that ADA portion that came through because of the monument status, and the World Monument Fund funded that part, all the petroglyphs that are there. And then the 2 outlets here in town are both on 6th. So it's kind of cool. It's 6 West and 6 East is where you hit the trailheads. And anyway. So,
Any questions for Luann?
I would be happy to not be on the. We did a lot at first and then it kind of petered out and I haven't thought about it much. And then when it pops up, I just feel guilty if I miss one. So, and I miss a lot.
and that's fine. I think, if you guys want somebody, I know Jen, you've been interested in it for a long time. Anyway, if you want somebody from council to be there, Josh said he could show up at most of the meetings,
I'm interested, and I think it's important for the town, so I'll come as much as I can.
And they're virtual meetings. We tried to do it during a lunchtime so that people were at lunch could just take a little longer or shorter or whatever, right in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I could sit down on when I can make it.
Yeah, I would be happy to have Spencer do that. That I'm not, like Britt said,
Well, let's consider that Spencer will be our official liaison for the council. And then if the working group wants to come back with some recommendations for who we want to appoint to fill up some of those spots, then if people have ideas, let Luann know, and then I'll be happy to consider appointing folks.
Yeah.
Is Brian still interested?
Pardon me?
Is Brian still
Yeah.
interested?
Brian's totally interested, and then right now I'm serving as chair. after Molly was, and then, like I say, we haven't had much to do, waiting for this to all transpose. But,
And we're just, as a reminder, we're considering this very much an advisory group. They're not making any formal decisions, spending any money.
Right.
You know.
we're a
working
committee,
group
we're a
advising
working
them.
committee that they can connect with me and I can get people, you know, to whatever they need for meetings and ideas or whatever. Right now, it's just myself and Debbie Westfall, basically. Brian's interested, and if you're interested, then we could use one more person.
What would you like for an application? Who do you want them to turn it into and what would you?
If to me, so that we can talk about it at a meeting. And I liked Zach put that out, you know, of what he does for the county. I don't know if I should put something like that out, or if you guys do that. I don't know.
You should do that. That would be great.
I mean,
Send it to-
maybe something as simple as like a little flyer that you can put at the post office, looking for, you know, people willing to serve on that transportation committee, and then we could, you know, send it out in email and stuff like that, just
Okay.
like a little
Okay,
paragraph.
I can write up some little quick, kind of like this, the little update that it's moving forward.
Yeah, I can put it under like the little notes, because I do like the upcoming meetings, and
Yeah.
I have like reminders and notes, and I'll put it on there for next week and the week.
Okay, well,
Good
let
deal.
me know if, you know, mostly wanted you all to know, and anybody listening.
Yeah, just thank you for continuing to be involved with it and staying on top of it, following it. It's really, I mean, when this happens, which I'm gonna say when instead of if, when this happens, it's gonna be, I think, really good for our town from a business standpoint, from a local safety standpoint, and from a health standpoint. It should be really good. So I'm excited.
Okay, all right, I am too, so, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you.
And then put your stuff in.
BIMLEY dash HO.
Has an R in it, Kimberly, right? Kimberly
It's
Horn.
just Kinley,
Oh.
I think, I don't.
No, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's enough to go by though. I was just.
Yeah, sometimes my brain fills in extra letters when they shouldn't be there. Gary asked me, so little background for the next item, as you guys noticed. The last meeting in July, I went ahead and canceled that meeting, and it was primarily because we had the number of things on the agenda that we, you know, had planned to put on the agenda, we just weren't ready to discuss. We hadn't done the research that we needed. And there was probably only one thing, which would have been the Tom Hisserod appointment that we were really ready to do. And so my thinking was, out of kind of respect for everybody's time, that instead of calling everybody together, we could push that Tom Hisserod thing off and be more ready for a lot of these agenda items that we're talking about today. And so I had canceled that meeting. Those of you that served on the council before knew that this wasn't an unusual thing. You have council meetings in prior councils, but this was the first time that I had ever done it, and the first time that any of the three of us had been involved with it. So Gary had raised a question about just, is there a procedure for that? Is there a policy for that? So maybe I'll toss it to you, Gary, to just, you know, if you had what concerns or thoughts that you might have about it, and have a little bit of a discussion about it.
Well, I was just approached by a town member about it being canceled. And gave me the impression that they were planning on coming to do their two-minute thing or whatever. And that if the mayor could do that on his own. And I looked dumbfounded at him and, I don't know. So I started to look into it. And unless it is in policy, everything I found was that the mayor could not just arbitrarily cancel a meeting without calling in, like a council. That we would have had to have gone ahead and had it ahead of time. But unless it was in our rules of order and procedure, which there's nothing in the Bluff one about it. So the state, when I gathered from the state, we were required to do it. That the mayor couldn't just cancel it without everybody involved. So I went back to that person and said, well, this is what I found out, but I'll bring it up. And then I brought it up with there and came to here.
Yeah, so, and I appreciate you doing this, because like, obviously, we're all new at this, all volunteers, that's that sort of thing. I did a little bit of researching before I did it. And I couldn't find anything in the law that said I couldn't cancel it. And then I also just thought like, okay, I could call a meeting and I do have the power to set the agenda clearly from our rules, so I could set in a meeting that has an agenda of nothing on it. You know, just public comment or something like that, and that just seemed kind of silly to do that. Yeah, I didn't see that there was a place in the law that said you couldn't cancel it. But it just seems like it's fairly silent, like I didn't see a place where, I don't know where you saw that it said that you couldn't cancel it.
Let's see. It's kind of under the special meetings that you can call a special meeting with 3 hours notice
Yeah,
and all of this. However, the statute does not grant the mayor the unilateral power to cancel a scheduled meeting. According to the Bluff Town Council Rules of Order and Procedure adopted under Utah Code 10.3.606, the town council must, and then it lists, hold at least one meeting, publish, and do that. There's no provision in the rules or code that allows the mayor to simply cancel a scheduled regular or special meeting without notice or council action. Cancellations would typically require a formal order or motion by the mayor or council and would still need to follow the notice requirements if it's a special meeting. If the meeting is already scheduled, they would need to act through the council process, as the mayor's role is to preside and recommend measures not to unilaterally alter the meeting schedule without council agreement. Because we are a 5 council thing, with the mayor being one of the voting members. And so it felt like it should be a council decision to cancel it, and that's what this citizen was portraying to me. Was that it should be a council.
so you gotta
decision.
call a special, you gotta call a special meeting to cancel a regular meeting?
From what I gather, it might have to be, but to be transparent and upfront with everything. It might not have hurt to say, okay, we've called special meetings in the past for things, from what I understand. But
How did you guys do this before?
That's what I'm trying to remember, how we canceled, because we have, but we did a lot more special meetings than we did canceling meetings.
I
for
think
sure.
that actually, if we were having the discussion about canceling the meeting, we usually discussed it in the meeting prior to the meeting that we were gonna
So
cancel.
you were calling.
So like say like we're talking this week, we're not ready for this next week. Let's cancel the meeting. And we didn't do it too often, I don't
No,
think, but
yeah.
a couple of times.
Yeah,
But I believe that we discussed it as cancel before.
Would that count
Yeah.
as public notice, just talking about it in the meeting, or like, would you have to post it?
I think it still got posted that it was canceled.
So, okay, well, let me ask maybe ask you another question. What are people's concerns with aside from maybe it's legal or not legal or whatever? Does anybody have would anybody have a concern about making a decision to cancel a meeting? Like in this case, there was nothing, nobody had suggested an agenda item. None of the council members had suggested an agenda item. There was nothing we needed to vote on. Like, I guess you could manufacture a situation where like some council member wanted something to be voted on. And the mayor played a game of canceling the meeting in order to, prevent it from being voted on. Like, that seems like the most surreptitious thing that the mayor could do. But it seems pretty far-fetched.
I don't look at it as a surreptitious thing in any way, shape or form, but. If we had public who wanted to address the council with something in public comment. And there wasn't a meeting to do so, then there does limit that. My other issue with it a little bit was that. It was right before our next not scheduled week meeting, so it was a big gap between work session and actual next meeting. So, you know, I mean, I could foresee if there was something that somebody wanted to address us about. That's a big gap, you know, a couple of weeks of time that we couldn't address anything at that point.
I mean, I guess for me, I didn't really particularly have an issue with this, because I mean, I was traveling, so I was relieved, to be honest. So, but it does show that I guess we have a gap in our policy. For how this is done, so maybe if it's still not, if we come to a policy that's not burdensome. It can be, you know, enacted with some checks or something like we do for the agenda. I can't remember off the top of my head what those checks are, but. If there's something.
What we said is that if the mayor didn't want to put something on the agenda, two council members could put it on.
So maybe something, you know, that can be done where there is consent and it's not. Putting the burden on one person to make the call or take the heat afterwards, so. I mean, I'm fine with throwing it in as an amendment or whatever, to the policy.
Would we be like, the mayor can cancel meetings after notifying the council and not receiving dissent from, I mean, you can't.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
It seems silly to call a special meeting to cancel a meeting, but I mean, I'd rather just be like, okay, if we want to have a meeting, I'll call a meeting and the only thing on it will be public comment and we'll be open the meeting, we'll close the meeting, and we'll, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's never really happened much before.
Yeah.
And I think it might be burdensome to us to try and create something now just for an instant down the road where you might want to cancel it. And just leave it the way it is, where we just hold the meeting, or in the meeting prior, we talk, well, we don't have anything next meeting. You know, I'm out of town, I'm out of town, I'm out of town. What do you think about canceling it? And everybody, yeah, let's cancel. And post it.
I mean, in this case, I mean, honestly, like we had things we wanted to talk about, we just didn't end up being ready because of the number of people, you know, Erin was out of town. She was gonna do research, there were things like, we just weren't ready to make, you know, like. We needed to do, like, found the awarding this contract, there were questions we still had, you know, outstanding. There just wasn't, you know, those were those items, there wasn't a way to like totally foresee that was gonna happen, maybe if we were totally on it, we would have. You know, it's like
Yeah.
kind of asking a lot to like know when you're always gonna be prepared ahead of time. I mean, I would prefer that we have it clarified, so if the mayor does not have the ability to do it, put in there, the mayor does not have the ability to do it.
Unless we call a special meeting and
Yeah, right, like,
How to-
if that's what you guys, if you guys are concerned about it, I would rather like have it be clear one way or the other, because right now it's not particularly clear one way or the other.
I mean, so we could, from what it sounds like, we could all just hop on a Zoom real quick, cancel the next meeting, have that and post that, and then that seems like it would satisfy the requirement, like if we needed to, like if we're, you know, if we got close and we're like, oh, we're actually like, we're not ready for this one, or enough people are out of town, but maybe we could all hop on a Zoom for 3 minutes and like, all right, let's cancel the next one. Then we wouldn't necessarily need to change policy, but then it would also require all of us to have a couple minutes, and sometimes even that can be crazy with everyone's schedule.
Well, and then you have to do the posting.
Everybody, so
Just a quorum.
Just has to be.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Or doesn't show up when the meeting's canceled.
Stanza.
That seems.
Sorry, is that a little too touchy?
Yeah,
Sorry, don't do that.
yeah.
Not advised.
And like in this case, like I mean, there's a few times I'm not gonna be able to come due to a work commitment, but like most of the time, I'll be on Zoom, I'll be, you know, we'll be on the meeting, it's just more like.
That's kind of how I feel.
It's more
Josh,
like
is-
respecting respecting all your guys'
Yeah,
time.
you were trying to, yeah.
Yeah.
And the staff time to go post all the stuff and whatever, we're not ready for a meeting.
Yeah.
I feel like there's other ways for people to raise, like, coming to this meeting is not the only way that they can, if people can, you know, my cell phone is out there, like, everybody's got my cell phone, you know, like.
I'll make an email.
They can email us, they can call, like, I don't feel like the town meeting is the only way people can raise an issue with us, I mean, none of us are hard to find, and.
On Aaron and Malia are often in the office as well,
Yeah,
and they can take concerns.
We have a lot of meetings.
I think sometimes though, people want to address the whole council.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to one
Valid.
person, then they can say, well, so-and-so told me this, well, so-and-so told me this. But if they address the whole group of us at the same time, where we can all, okay, ask them questions so we all understand their concerns, their needs.
Yeah,
I mean, and I think
I
it-
totally agree on that. I think, but I just don't think, do they need to do that in an emergency way? Like if it's an emergency in the, once in a however many that we cancel a meeting, it feels like there's other ways they could get a hold of the
But
town.
it might not have been an emergency, but it was a planned meeting that they had planned on
Pending.
attending, and then all of a sudden, no, we're canceling it. I have no idea. It's canceled. But I don't think we need to put in there that you can cancel them. Because from what I could gather in the state law says that you can't.
Well, I'd encourage you to send me the citation. I don't see the citation in this system. I didn't see any citation. So I would say that from what I can see, it's still an open question if we don't specify it in our rules of procedure.
I mean, I guess I'm fine with, we can toss it on a work session at some point if we've got a light work session and we need to get, and we have some time to get to it. But for now, we can just let it stand and be more mindful of it. Go forward. With the system as it's set up now.
I mean, if you guys, and like I said, if you guys think we should always do these meetings, then let's just put it in there. We should always do the meetings and then, we don't have an agenda. I mean, it's your guys' time as much as it is mine.
We always have minutes to approve for something.
I mean, it's not my preference. My preference is to have some sort of flexibility when it can work out. But I'm just saying for now, like, so we can,
I wonder if we've got two esteemed people that used to deal with this. Do you guys remember what you guys did and why you thought about it?
I'm sure Anne remembers exactly, but my comment was that when I saw it canceled, I panicked that something emergency had happened and that something was wrong. So that was my impression when it was suddenly canceled. So if you canceled it the day before, the 2 days before or something, that would solve the problem. It would be just a little more invasive.
And when did we post it? I don't remember talking to me.
I got it in the email when I saw it. I think it was that morning, wasn't it?
Well,
At least they find that.
it would have been Monday,
Yeah, I think it was
probably,
the first time.
So my recollection, which could be wrong, is first we had very few times that we had to cancel. But usually we would talk about it in the meeting and most frequently it would come up if, like you'd look at the month and there'd be a holiday in there and people would be traveling and Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, do we want to cancel this? And frequently the other way it would come up would be, we're looking at the agenda, we've just slammed 3 meetings in a row where we had 30 things on, do we need a break and cancel? And then we do it in the meeting. To address Josh's specific situation, I don't believe the mayor ever in 7.5 years arbitrarily canceled. However, the special meetings pain in the whatever, because then you gotta do the notice requirement. I think for transparency purposes and whatever the discussion you're having is really good. How you do it. When I needed to do something, I went to every single person individually and got a consensus so that I'd have an idea before I even thought about any special meeting, because if Gary had said, I don't want to cancel it, I'd have just left it on the table and not gone any further. But I think that it is fairly clear in the code that the mayor doesn't have the ability to arbitrarily cancel. But we've never had it happen there to have the discussion. And if you really wanted to be on solid ground and spend money, you could ask an attorney for a legal opinion. But I think if you set the policy like we're talking about, however y'all can agree.
And
Appreciate you guys.
into that, to me, I always look at why these laws are written. And like what has happened in other towns, what has happened in the past to make this rule to say one person can't cancel a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, you could see some surreptitious, like, playing around with that sort of thing.
Yeah, or you leave and there's the three that are left, the vacant quorum can suddenly, do another 2-1 and pass something. So that's why it's in there, but so you just need to look ahead or. I think.
There are many times that I would want to cancel the meeting, because I knew what was gonna happen at the meeting and I didn't want to do it. And so to address your question, whether somebody surreptitiously do it, not anybody here would do it. But I agree with you, it's there to avoid any manipulation. And then making sure the notice is out clearly as fast as it should be. Let me know. We don't have any items.
Well, how about we do this, we don't have a proposal or something to decide on this, but if folks want to think about how they would like to address it, we can put it on, like you said, like a future work session. And actually decide what we want the policy to be. Maybe I'll just say, I won't cancel any more meetings, we'll just like, if there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do, we'll have a public comment and we'll close the meeting, and if that's what folks want the policy to be, we can have that be the policy, and we'll just use that as the thing for now. And then we can figure out if we want to have an actual policy on it.
This was the first time in 6 months, so we'll just try to do it before we have to cancel or it comes up again.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you having concern over people's time and staff time, posting and not posting and stuff.
Yeah. All right, yeah, Aaron, next one was a little bit, related, well, it's not really related, but it's a similar kind of like, how do we best coordinate when people are in town and out of town?
Yeah, so for potentially to get ahead of whatever happened under number 5. And best practice, not a formal policy, but a best practice is, it is very helpful for you all to let me know when you're physically not in town. So as you have seen, we've got a lot of checks and all that good stuff. We do have a shared calendar. It's like Bluff Town Council shared calendar. You should see it. So you'll have like your personal calendar, and then you'll have a Bluff Town Council one. If you're able to update that, amazing. Or if you don't have access to your email currently on a town device, not just kidding, just shoot
Or
me.
you can't figure out how to update your calendar correct.
Yeah.
That's-
Let me know, or let IT know, and we'll get it on, I'll reshare it with you, because you did have to go and like click accept and like add it to your calendar. Or if you just want to shoot me a text or an email or something and just say, hey, I'm out of town. These are the days. I'm not tracking them. I only care because I won't bother you when you're out of town to like help me with something. So, and then, yeah, that can also help Josh and I too, as he sets agendas of knowing like, oh, hey, by the way, this person's traveling and not available, or this person's traveling and might be available. That would help me a lot. So yeah, that's all. Just a request, not a formal policy. I promise I'm not tracking you. And then if you want to see me after the meeting or at another time to make sure that calendar's on there, I can
For trading.
make sure to make sure it's on there.
It's not, I need to be retrained. I mean, Aaron would be like, what did you do that?
Same. It's okay. And truly, I'm more than happy, like, also happy to shoot me the message with the dates and times that you're out of town, and we'll go from there. Now, if it's just like a trip to like Farmington or wherever to get groceries,
But you don't wanna know our day to day?
I don't. There's only one person that I need to know that of, and he is not in the room right now. So, yeah. But yeah.
Gotta be
yeah,
quick.
if you're planning an overnight plus, please let me know. And I appreciate it. Cool.
I think the other thing that would be really helpful if we do that is if we did end up having an emergency, we kind of know who to contact, who's around or who's not around, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not that you wouldn't help out in an emergency if you're gone and out of town, we just can't help physically if you're not here. When we put this on the agenda, I didn't really think about it until this weekend, but I think it probably would be really good for the times when I'm out of town and and literally out of digital range, like I was this last weekend, like you can't reach me because I'm in the wilderness. In that situation, it's probably good to know, and, you know, hopefully there's maybe one of, you know.
We're not waiting to hear back, like, okay, do we call in the National Guard? Do we let him touch it? That you can go with that, but yeah, that is a good one too.
But
Are you
probably,
eligible?
yeah, that piece. Cause I think there's a big difference between I'm traveling for work and getting my text versus like, you know,
I am completely.
I'm literally awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we update it on this calendar on our account, you'll be able to see it.
Correct, yes.
It's like town council.
Make sure you drop down to the other one. I will admit, I definitely have issues going back and forth between the two. Luckily, you're probably not in there as much. Jen, don't worry, we're gonna be buddy. We're good.
You're also welcome to let me know, I can also. So if
Yes.
Aaron is out of town and you have out of town dates,
I
let me know.
I figured it out a couple of
Yeah.
times, but Aaron would be like, what is this? I was like, I don't know.
It's all good.
So item number 7, we were approached by the AmeriCorps folks to see if we had an interest in applying and work to do, and Aaron and I had talked about it. We certainly have quite a bit of defensible space type work that we need to do in town and help landowners with, and so I thought, well, that in and of itself is probably worth applying for. But there could be other things, and then I was talking to Luann the other day, and she brought up, for example, the drainage canal there on 7th East, kind of behind your place that wraps around, and then it's starting to get pretty overgrown in there. Like that type of project could be really helpful to have, you know, a number of hands and bodies on as well. We probably don't want everything they're working to be like hard physical labor, like boot camp style. So it'd be helpful to think of, you know, some other type projects, maybe not quite as physical labor, maybe at the old elementary school. At the old elementary school. And so we thought we'd A, tell you that we're thinking about applying, and B, see if other folks have other project ideas that might not be quite so physically demanding.
Okay, so caveat with AmeriCorps. I think that you can say, yes, we're interested, but not a green crew.
Well, especially if they're using like the heavy machinery, chainsaws, cause yeah, we've had some really young ones.
Our last AmeriCorps experience was not a good experience.
Maybe Luann reminded me of that too. She said, put a caveat that
Yeah.
like, we
they-
do need a little bit more.
We don't want the training here.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I honestly, I think it took us at least a week to clean up things. I mean, I think it created more work than it was helpful the last time in AmeriCorps crew.
Yeah, and so part of the reason I thought of the defensible space too is just that we need a project that someone can like a big enough project that someone can manage. And by then we'll have a person hopefully to manage that, which would be our new emergency services person who's in charge of helping with defensible space. So it wouldn't be on Aaron, and certainly would be on Malia because she's likely to be on maternity leave. To manage it, and we'd have, you know, you need someone to help with management of that. Any other ideas or other thoughts?
yeah, definitely just that idea of like, the coordinator did say, you know, if you could find at least one day a week consistently within their program, they're not doing heavy labor, that would be good. I have already gotten some volunteers from the community who might be interested in helping manage as well. Thank you, volunteer from the community. So that would be great. But yeah, you all bring up great points. And so I would say, I would probably want to target the February through April time period. Like to just say that would kind of be our request, because that's kind of like a little bit better weather. In early January, well, you're into like some really cold, and like they come outfitted, they have all their own materials, all that stuff. We were also asked, when I shared our potential project idea, We would definitely need to have like a chainsaw plan, essentially, like, are they using chainsaws? They need extra supervision with that, et cetera. But yeah, I think it'd be a good to whip through some good materials, and the coordinator did say defensible space is a very common project that crews help with. So it would roll nicely into what they're looking for their criteria. Housing is another big one. So with your permission, I would probably reach out to the mission to see if they would have availability during those timeframes. They were able to meet the needs of the team, but we've got until September 17th, so I probably want to have an application in this first or second week in September, so we've got a little time if you've got other project ideas, or if you are working with like a nonprofit in town or have connections to a nonprofit in town who might also have things, those are really easy to couple and partner with to submit an application together.
Any other idea that came to my mind of cause I could keep coming up with physical labor things all day long, but non-physical labors was something around around the food bank and organizing, planning on that, just knowing that William's been doing that and that she's gonna be out during that time. I don't know if that's a good AmeriCorps thing at all. It's probably not a good AmeriCorps one, but that was just one thing that.
They could definitely have, like, if we're still doing food bank on Tuesdays, we could definitely have at least some of the crews scheduled in for like the Tuesdays and coordinating there, so I like that. Yep. Cause that also ties into, they really want the teams like in the community, helping the community, meeting as many people as possible, so.
Maybe there's something that needs to be painted or stained or. I don't know.
I don't even, the flashbacks of like, just I can see it now with our really nice lights over here. Yeah, maybe they can repaint from the last AmeriCorps cruise.
Just every year they repaint.
And eventually we'll have a
Just don't wanna
solid,
wash the chair.
no, eventually we'll have a solid.
Oh, I
coat
forgot
paint.
about the chairs. Oh, that was so bad.
No, we're gonna have a robust plan, but help make it.
I remember them washing the chairs. That ended up being me washing the chair and you.
We'll get a robust plan, we'll get a good thing, fill their time. I do not think that we would apply for like a whole session. I think 6 weeks is probably more than enough for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Correct me if you feel otherwise.
I mean, I think on the defensible space, it'll be, kind of like our first couple of projects, probably, like we get a new person in, maybe we do some inventory. What are some properties that really need some help? Work with some landowners. In a super ideal situation, you maybe even have like, a state crew. Or BLM crew come down and do some training and co-work alongside of them on a couple of these projects, so they're learning it outside. So I agree, I think like a 6 thing. So if anybody has other ideas, we want to let you know. It doesn't sound, anybody have a concern with us applying and doing AmeriCorps other than,
Not
your
just as long
suggestions
as we
about
don't-
the.
Yeah, this is things we don't get, but the change.
The brand new one. I mean, literally, they couldn't even really help us in the community garden. Which, it was
It was a tough
it
one.
was a very novice crew. Just put it that way. Yeah, the first crew, I think, was good. Except for pulling Irene's asparagus, but that was the only
It
complaint
looks
that I
like
heard.
Jen. I'm just.
All right, let's move to agenda item number 8 and talk about year-end financials. Obviously, we're not quite locked down with them because we don't get our tax income, all of our tax income still till like August, September kind of thing. But if I don't know if you have some highlights or if folks had a chance to look at them, have any questions. I just had some, I've had some, I think I probably keep having the same question about why there's some negative numbers, and so I already asked you that, so we don't need that.
Just for the public, negative numbers, Polaris does some weird reporting on our cover sheet. So you probably see that as well, like our assets. I've asked the accountant as well, it's just kind of how Forrest does their reporting, and it's really annoying. So in the agenda packet, you have a couple different views of the operations budget as well as the check register for the year. I'll go over the operational budget report. As Josh indicated, we are still waiting for a couple revenues to come in. The big one is going to be, the big one, oh, he is in the room now. Sorry. The big one is going to be, the roads money, coming in. It does look like we've actually pretty much finalized the tax revenue coming in. So you'll see we did exceed our budget, which is good. That's what we want to see. Now, we'll see what the rest of the year looks like for our business owners. Going down the line, for state grants, we did not quite meet what we were looking at, and that's just because some of the timing, with the generator grant, a few of the things, that we were looking at for the brick. The money that came in that we got reimbursed for the playground, was put, into this fiscal year. And then the other big one, so under the interest line items, so the total amount of interest earned was $45,000, $45,800. Dave and I do still need to break that up, or sorry, 48,400, exceeding the budget by $2,500, which is great. We just need to do a journal entry to make sure that the interest is being appropriately distributed to roads and the brick. You'll see those budget numbers are gonna be much closer to actual. Right now, it's just all showing as general fund, but that is not how things are allocated in PTIF. So
We haven't broken out the interest by those yet.
correct. So we have earned, or the town has earned $48,000 in interest, but they just need to go into their correct categories. So Dave and I will do that. And that's because we only have one PTIF account. And that's what Dave recommends, just have the one, but we have to track interest separately. Moving down, the airport BLM lease, I need to follow up on. It might just be a timing thing with our fiscal year, but per our contract, it's a $1,300 lease annually. So I don't know if it just, we weren't billed for it in our fiscal year, but we do have an annual payment that's due. So I
They actually bill you?
that's what I'm wondering. I think we usually get,
You got a bill.
I know, I think we usually do. So I gotta follow up on that one. Because that one is not in there yet. Yeah, yeah. So
My guess is we would need to
need to
pay them.
yeah, so I'll look into that one. You'll also notice for salaries, specifically my salary, the town manager salary has exceeded the budget. What Dave did, so I was estimating that because we pay taxes based on payment date, that it would roll into the next cycle, but the pay period from June 19th through June 30th was accrued, and so our accountant Dave moved it back into the fiscal year. So if you look at budget versus actual, we were all paid in July, but he just moved back the percentage since most of the pay period took place in June. So that is an overage there, and that's just because of the way that the pay cycles ran. You look.
You mean you didn't give yourself a raise?
I didn't. I did not sneak an extra check in for you guys to sign. If you look at the rest of the expenditures, they are well within budget. The other one that we are waiting for that will go into this fiscal year because the contract was signed within the fiscal year is the Bluff Cemetery, and the payment to Southwest Heritage Foundation. So you'll see that would fall under cemetery, still within budget. And then after all of that is in, we know all of the taxes and revenues and everything, then Dave goes back to do all of the transfers. So increases in fund balance, fund balance and everything. The special revenue account, I'll just call out. That one, we just need to move one of the revenues for the money being received for the GoEO as a revenue that needs to go into the special revenue account. It was accrued in that period of time, but all of the expenses are accurate and also within budget. And then as a reminder, starting next year, in your approved budget for fiscal year 2027, the capital projects fund does have everything broken out by project. For this fiscal year, it was just approved as a lump capital project. So what you're looking at on page 4 of the report is just that overall, which again, Dave does the updates too, once we know where everything has moved. You'll also find that check register. Dave and I are still going over all the final stuff, so if you're seeing anything weird, or if you saw anything weird, please let me know. Because we're still making, making sure things got to the proper places. And then, Larson and Company, is moving forward with our audit. We've already started signing a couple things there. And so I expect that to be taking place, in the next couple weeks, but we don't have a concrete time yet for this fiscal year audit.
Just since you brought up the purchase of the Bluff Cemetery property, where are we at with getting that finalized?
I think we just have to have you and Bill go sign up the title. That should be, we should be good.
And the ideal thing is to do that at the same time, like.
I think ideally, but I can follow up with Anderson. Title.
Okay.
Anderson.
I'll follow up with you, see if we can get that finished up.
Excellent. Any questions, concerns? I did also include in the agenda packet, the July financials, same thing, it's the end of the month, we're still getting a couple things in. If you're looking at it, it will not have too terribly much yet. But if you're seeing anything strange, let me know, because especially when we switch over financial years, it's important that this financial year reflects this financial year. So that's what Dave and I are just making sure that everything's going to the proper month.
Any other questions on the financials or check register?
Good work, Karen.
Well, thank you. Go team, go.
My last question is just, when do we think we have the final July, 2026 with the revenues and everything?
Yeah, roads usually comes in the second to third week in September. Dave can reopen the books and put that back in if needed, but that would be like last. I would say we were gonna have a pretty good thing, except pretty good understanding of where we're at, minus roads, the roads revenue by probably within about 10 days. We'll have all those invoices in.
And then, so this is the part maybe I still don't quite understand of municipal budgeting in this regard, but well, if our tax revenue is gonna come in higher. And then our 2020 fiscal 2027 budget has budgeted a certain amount for carryover or for fund balance, shouldn't call it carryover. But if the revenues end up actually being higher than that. It seems like that's kind of a limbo situation, but maybe, so you would deal with that in a amended budget, whenever you decide to amend your budget. There's not like a time crunch to do it, but at some point you need to amend your budget to pull that in accurately. Is that right?
Yes, that would be the preferred scenario. There are some municipalities who move through an entire year without a budget amendment. It's pretty rare, but yes, that carryover would just go as to revenue for fiscal year 2027 exceeding our projected budgeted revenues, and then could flow through or be allocated in any other way that you all would see fit to support this year's budget.
So that's one reason why we really should do a budget amendment at some point. We probably need to for other reasons, but.
It gives you that extra, not extra, that's not the right word, but it gives you that bandwidth to be able to utilize those funds. Or earmark them.
If we want to allocate them to fund balance or allocate them to something else.
Otherwise, it really does just kind of go into fund balance, like it would just be that fund balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think that was our last of those. You'll remember we decided to do this kind of looking ahead deal to kind of preview some of the things coming up. We're talking about a fairly robust agenda for our work session next week. One of the big topics for that will be around benefits policy. We've never really had a benefits policy in place, and so Aaron's been doing some good research, and we've been looking at budget implications and those sort of things. So we'll want to talk about that with y'all at the work session next week, and then ideally vote on a policy at the third session of the month. The cemetery board also, now that they've gotten their hands dirty, doing the work, have realized some things that might be good to edit in the cemetery ordinance. So talking about that, giving y'all hopefully an update on the secondary water project that the little working group has been working on. And also, as kind of a heads up, we extended the RFP for the legal counsel RFP, and so we're now looking at probably awarding that our first meeting in September. Anything other heads up you can think of? Any other things?
We have a basketball hoop and a pickleball net outside. And in a month, we're gonna have the fence installed and the line painted.
Also have a beautiful concrete pad that
Also
was
do
not there
concrete
before
pad.
on our last meeting.
So is there a surface that goes on top of the concrete pad?
Not that I know of.
It's just the concrete is the surface,
Yes,
And they'll paint.
but
Lines.
they paint lines on it.
a month after it's been poured,
Gotcha.
so end of this.
That'd be so fun.
So if anybody wants, we can go see who can hit the first hoop out there in the sun. Hopefully it doesn't take us very long.
We're gonna need to get a basketball.
Well, we can do a volleyball.
Get a grant.
We'll get a grant for it. Yeah, you get a grant for a basketball, single basketball.
I do have one other, planning and zoning. I don't know if you're planning a formal update anytime soon, but I did want the public to know through our council meetings as well. Currently, planning and zoning is planning kind of like an open house event on September 17th at 5 p.m. right before their regular work session. The planning and zoning team, led by the fantastic Malia Collins as chair, has undertaken looking at a zoning code update. It's a very extensive project. I mean, it's a massive code. And so it will be kind of like a listening session, open house event. They're gonna have maps, be seeking input. It's a great opportunity for the public to ask questions before the Planning and Zoning Commission gets too far into updates. They just want to make sure that they're headed in the right direction based on public feedback. So that is Thursday, the 17th at 5 p.m. It'll be here and virtual, and listen to Planning and Zoning for more information on that.
So we'll try to get the word out about that in the community. And so basically the idea is we want people to, come with, what they think maybe concerns with the current zoning ordinance are, kind of thing.
Yes, and we're hoping that we'll have a pretty good drafted copy. We're working through it slowly, but we'd like to by then at least have something to hand them and say, here's a red line set of what we've been up to. What do you think? Are we on the right track, or have we totally missed it? Just so that as we try to work on finalizing, we actually are doing the public ones.
And I'll just put a plug in, looking for constructive feedback.
Always.
Say there are a lot of things to complain about, but constructive feedback. What would you like to see, not just what you don't see?
Let's hear, I don't like this and I suggest.
Yes, suggestions are very, very welcome, and we'd love to have them before. Now, this does not negate, planning and zoning will have to go through a formal public hearing process, which we also expect to hear lots of comments on. But this is just a more friendly time to get to know your planning and zoning commissioners. Sure.
I guess I would I would say, like, I would welcome any feedback. If there's things you don't like about the code, you don't have to have a solution every time, you know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
they're just like, this stinks, this.
I don't like this.
If you don't like it, that's okay. It's good for us to hear. Now, I may not be able to do anything about it if you don't have an idea of what to do. But I like, yeah, it's the state code and there's nothing we could do about it, but I still, you know, like I think it's valuable for us to hear what is problematic for people. We may not be able to solve it, you know, but like, I think I would want people to just come and be like, hey, this is an issue. We can't do anything about it. We can't do anything about it. But
That's fair.
One more thing to potentially add to the to the next meeting with regards to the secondary water, maybe like start the conversation again about bringing the water board under the town. Start that conversation again, or keep going on that conversation. Potentially, maybe that's not the right meeting for it, but might be too much.
Yeah, let's maybe talk offline about what constructive we can talk about in that regard. During, you know, during our meeting. Yeah. Definitely something that we wanna keep moving forward if we can. All right, no others. We'll go ahead and consider ourselves adjourned at 5:21 on August 4th. Thanks, everybody.